I'm Roy Lee Lindsay with the North Carolina Pork Council, and I want everyone to remember bacon makes everything better.
Hey folks, David Glenn of the North Carolina Sports Network coming at you from Charlotte at the 2024 ACC Kickoff event. Our next guest is one of our favorites. He has built successful college football programs at Fordham, Richmond, Bowling Green, and of course nowadays Wake Forest University. He is now entering his 11th season as the head coach of the Demon Deacons. Dave Clawson, welcome back to the David Glenn Show. How are you?
I'm doing great, David. Always great to see you here.
It is great to see you, Coach. If you had a State of the Union 10-year address regarding both 7 straight bowl trips, which is on your resume, but also a rough season last year, what would you include in that 10-year message to Demon Deacon Nation?
Well, I think we're extremely disappointed with last year. I think we set a standard for Wake Forest football that we want to get back to. We got humbled last year. I think our football team is hungry to get back to the level that we were playing at in 21 and 22. And it's not easy, but I really feel our team's mindset and the fact that we have 17 starters back, I'm certainly a lot more optimistic heading into 24 than I was 23.
Before we get back to the specifics of your team, I've always enjoyed asking you big picture questions about college athletics. You have said both that you're glad the ACC expanded, now 18 schools, 17 in football, but you've also described the forces of the realignment universe as, quote, insane. And I agree with you on both counts for whatever that's worth. But they almost sound contradictory. Why do you believe both that expansion was good for the ACC, but also that over 20 years, realignment has been insane for college athletics?
Well, I've been saying this for years, that for as big of a business as college football has become, the fact that we don't have a commissioner or somebody that oversees the whole thing makes zero sense. And so what happens is that everybody's acting in their own interest for their own conference, which I don't think is better for the game as a whole. I think if you took any of these commissioners and you said, you're now in charge of college football, they'd be making different decisions than they would as the head of their conference. And they're all doing a great job. I mean, everyone and all these commissioners are doing what they need to do, which is best for their conference. I just don't think any of this is best for the whole of college football. And when a conference like the Pac-12, and I mean, I grew up watching USC, UCLA, and I mean, to have those teams in the Big Ten and to eliminate a conference in 100 years of history, I don't think is good. And they'll say, well, that's progress. I think there was a way of doing this much better that conference still exists. So I'm glad to have Stanford. What's good for the ACC is Jim Phillips was proactive in securing our conference. You know, if we lose some teams, then we already have the other teams there, and I think what he did was best for the ACC. But it's hard to say that, you know, Stanford and Cal are better playing Wake Forest and BC than they were Oregon, Washington, Oregon State, Washington State, and UCLA.
You're such a good speaker that you have never needed my advice in our 11 years of knowing each other, but if you want a quote upstairs in the ballroom, one of my favorite quotes is, a camel is actually a horse created by committee, if that makes sense to you. That's essentially what you're saying with college realignment, so you don't even have to give me credit if you use that upstairs. Jim Phillips used the words harmful, disruptive, and damaging, and kind of called out Clemson and Florida State essentially for going the legal route rather than living up to a contract that they willfully and actually gleefully signed back in 2013 and 2016. My question to you is, as a football coach, have you felt your job description complicated either by recruits' questions about lawsuits or realignment, or even the financial gap that we often write and hear about between the Big Ten and the SEC, and then the ACC and everybody else?
You know, Wake Forest in the Power 4 college football world is in some ways we're a niche school, right? We're a private, small, highly academic, and I think our recruits are still our recruits. There's certain people that want exactly what we are. Individual attention, small classrooms, high graduation rates. And there's other guys that all they want to know is what's going to be my collective payment.
Right.
And so I think we've been less affected by all this change than most, just because, our recruiting niche has kind of always been our niche. And so because we are so distinctive from almost every other Power 4 school in the country, it's probably impacted us less than most.
You and I were born less than 24 hours apart in the same year, both in the northeastern United States. We both have amazing wives who inspire us in various ways. Catherine, in Coach Clausen's case, I call my wife the lovely and talented Maria. I wonder, have you and Catherine or the family more broadly had a cool trip that you want to share? I heard that you saw Billy Joel in concert.
James Taylor.
Or James Taylor.
Yeah.
So have you turned, I know a lot of folks have been coming to Winston-Salem, to a Legacy Stadium. Have you all been able to either travel internationally or add to your concert circuit?
No, we didn't take a big trip this year. Our son, who's going to be a senior at North Carolina School of the Arts, got a work experience job this year up in the Williamstown, Massachusetts, for the Williamstown Theater Festival. So my wife and I got up there for a couple of weeks to be around him, to see some shows. We saw James Taylor. The Bare Naked Ladies came to Winston-Salem.
Cool.
We got to see them. And it wasn't a big trip. It was a little bit more of a working summer, working remotely, getting away, having family time. And it's been a great summer in a different way, but no big trip this year.
You're a big Talking Heads fan, we know, from years past. It's the 40th anniversary of the documentary Stop Making Sense. I'm trying to picture. So you were 16-ish, 17-ish years old when that came out. Do you remember when it came out? And are they still among your favorite bands?
I saw that concert.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so that was, I believe, 1983, I believe, is the year that concert was out. And I saw them perform that conference at the University of Buffalo.
Cool.
With a bunch of friends. So I've watched that movie probably 3 or 4 times and remember it being like the show I saw. So I'm still a huge Talking Heads fan. I had a chance to see David Byrne's American Utopia up in New York City a few years ago, and that's still my go-to band and go-to music.
I am a better person and a more effective business owner for having known and learned from Emily Parks over many years now. Emily's company, Organize for Success, helps multi-passionate business owners and executives bring harmony to all the layers of their lives, from work to side projects, from friends and family to hobbies, community, and beyond. With Emily's help, you too can make every minute matter. She helps you determine what earns your time and how to efficiently accomplish what matters. One of the many things I love about Emily is that she does not impose her will on her clients. She listens to them. That way she can better help them cultivate the lives they want to live. You can set up a complimentary call with Emily today by visiting organizeforsuccess.com. Wake fans will be mad if I don't ask you at least one football question about your team specifically before you get to the next stop in your car wash. Tell us what to expect from either Hank Bachmeier, your new quarterback, generally. I know you have 8 incoming transfers. You also lost some quality players to the transfer portal. What gives you reason to believe, personnel-wise, that you can get back to that caliber you were for 7 straight bowl seasons?
Well, last year we broke in a lot of new players, and it was baptism by fire, and we didn't get the quarterback play we wanted a year ago, but it wasn't just the quarterback. We didn't play as well collectively around him. We didn't protect as well. We dropped more balls. We just weren't as detailed, and that's on me as the head coach. That's my job. Yes, we had personnel losses, but it was still our job to make sure we take care of the football, don't turn it over, don't have MAs, don't false start on 3rd and 1. And we did not do as good a job of that. So I think we've learned the hard way. I think our team was humbled. I think we're hungry. But those are just words, right? Every coach is going to be down here enthusiastic. We've all had great off seasons. The summer workouts have never been better. You know, in the next 3 months, the rubber meets the road, and we'll see, how much better we are. But I'm very optimistic, and I'm encouraged by the amount of players we have back and where their mindset is.
His name is Dave Clawson, year 11 with Wake Forest. Coach, you know you're one of our favorites. We appreciate what you do for college athletics. Thanks for this revisit here on the David Glenn Show. We'll have you back during the season as long as you're amenable to that.
Absolutely. Thanks again.
Great to see you. That's Coach Dave Clawson here at 2024 ACC Kickoff.